actually set up a folder that is just doing line readings.
Uh-huh.
I only have like 3 things on my YouTube channel, so it's not a bunch. Actually set up a folder that is just doing line readings.
Uh-huh.
We have like 3 things on my YouTube channel. No. I don't know if I have to close the window. Hold on. Not sure if it records with the window closed there because I get a reverb because there's a delay.
I don't see any anything indicating that you're recording on Zoom.
It's just
I
a
see
go
the live on YouTube
Yeah,
thing, but I don't see.
well, I'm not recording, it's just recording it there. Let's see
Okay.
if this works out. It's all an experiment anyways. So Caroline, you are a 3-2, excuse me, a 6-2. You've made it up to 6 now. I often, if I do this sometimes, read 6s as a 3, depending on the person's age.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know about the other segments in their life. It tends to be divided up into 3 parts. You are in the 3rd stage, which is the integrating of the role model and being a teacher and having wisdom and vision. The key issue for you to your evolution is surrender for your own healing of the wound, excuse me, the wound of isolation. And the way you heal that is through your own self-care. The 6th line in your evolution on the positive side is about incorporating patience. And on the shadow side is arrogance, whether that's dealing with your own arrogance or having people around you who are arrogant. But it's about surrendering to that and having patience. Your gift in your evolution is understanding. Now the breakthrough comes for you into the 2 side, which is the hermit side. And your gift or radiance comes to you by following what your gifts are. First of all, knowing what they are and following them. The gifts that I see here are in your life's work, revolution, understanding in the evolution, competence in your radiance, and style in your purpose. Well, I know those 2, 14 and 8, because I have the same, just in reverse. But in your radiance and for your own health, it's about waiting for a worthy call for your gifts and not just giving them away without it being a worthy call for you. You do best with surrounding yourself with honest people that have no hidden agendas. When you start to feel those agendas or manipulation from people, it's best for you to back away from those situations and have good boundaries. On the negative side, it's about when you blame or don't take total self-responsibility for how you're feeling or how life is unfolding. And this is one of my, having the 55th, is noticing when I'm blaming or complaining. And I told this to, oh goodness, I'm forgetting her name, Laura. It's like, use like a swear jar and set and have someone help you to be accountable. Every time that you find yourself blaming or complaining about stuff, put a quarter in the jar or $1 or 50 cents or whatever you want it to be. It's not about changing it. It's just about noticing how prevalent it is for you, or maybe it's not. The purpose,
Powering off.
oops, lost my speaker there for a second.
Powering on. Ready to pair.
The purpose for
Paired.
you is about style. Oops, I lost my whole Zoom meeting. Hold on. And style isn't about, it's just you being authentically who you are. Not worried about fashion trends, not worried about what's popular today. It's just you being you. And the wound there is denial. Perhaps you denied being who and what you are. And that would probably be the case in the earlier part of life with the 3. But the way to heal that is through ease. Ease meaning not trying to make something happen, no rush, no. It will unfold as it unfolds, and being at ease with that. Now up into the attraction field. Now that has to do with purpose, not what you do in life, but just how you are, as well as relationships. Being authentically you. Need glasses for this part. Okay, in the attraction field, it says frigidity and romance. I don't really like those 2 words. I like to replace them with warm and passionate, or you can be the negative side of that, cold and unreachable. That warm and passionate part of you is what draws people and events to you. I don't know the specific key, but the gift is freshness. You really have a mix of everything in you. You have every line. You have in the IQ, the intelligence, the first line, which is the contemplative mind. Have you ever done the course or the book by Richard, The Art of Contemplation?
I have not, but I have, certainly employed that specific strategy to my daily life. That pause and pivot.
Okay.
And I just interject real quickly here. Now that I'm studying astrology, I just find this fascinating that the attraction is the moon, and my moon is in Capricorn in the 6th house, and it is a very from an astrological viewpoint, it's a very stoic, cold landscape. It's Capricorn moon is who you want to come on the scene when there's an accident and you need someone that doesn't get all emotional. So the beauty of the line and, you know, lining up with the Capricorn moon to me is just one of the many wonders of bridging these two different modalities.
Cool. I don't know if my speaker went out.
Battery low.
You still speaking?
No, I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. I thought my battery or my external speaker is telling me battery low. So let me get through this. Your gift is in your intellect, your authority. It's when you know what you know it, and trust that. And don't hide. When you know you're an authority on it, don't hide your thoughts. The emotional intelligence, you have what I think one of the greatest gifts, magnetism. You feel very deeply and you can be sympathetic. And on the other side of that is apathy.
Battery low.
And the SQ, I was going to say the only place you have sixes, but you have 6-2 as your life's work and evolution. 6-2 is about patience.
Battery low.
There is a depth to you that comes over a time of vast experience and naturalness, which I'm not quite sure what that means, but Kitty, if you want to come say hi.
Battery low.
Now, your vocation and your core wound is about rejection. And what it needs is gentleness. And I see that all throughout your chart is about gentleness, patience, ease. And I don't know a lot about the pearl because I haven't yet done the pearl for myself, but I'll give a stab at it. In your vocation, it says about, just shut up, speaker, sales and connectedness. And the gift that you have is expansion. I was just talking about my experience of expansion before we started recording. The culture, of which I know very little of, it's about individual is the first line. And for your pearl, it's about, the fourth line is about having clarity. And I think that's reflected throughout the whole reading, is about knowing, being an example of, being a teacher of, having the vision of, and having that clarity. And it's the gift is inspiration. So as you just be, you inspire others for the world. Okay, Kitty, quit. And the other thing that I see a lot of in is that you're very hard. Well, I don't know if you still are, but an aspect that I see overall is that you're very hard on yourself. I don't know if that is because the first part of life was a lot of trial and error and mistakes and learning from those things. But, you know, it's reflected here. patience is a key, surrender, feeling deeply, and being authentically who you are in the moment. That's all I got.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Um,
Let's see if I got to this. Oops. Say something so I can see if I can hear you.
can you hear me right now?
No, I can.
So, yeah, again, this weaves in beautifully with what I was talking about in studying the transits and looking backwards. Because when you understand the energies that were at play and your lessons that were to be learned, any blame, the blame and the harshness that I put on myself dissipates.
Perfect.
And you start being kinder to yourself and quit judging and second guessing the way things went. So it really is quite it just plays in perfectly. And I want to say something about the blame. And I think there's two elements in my chart that really played a big role in my life. And now that I understand them and I'm aware of them and I'm working on them, it's the 49 in the low expression is reaction. And the 10 in its low expression is blame. And so when things go wrong, instead of taking that pause, if you jump into reaction, then all of a sudden you're looking at outwards to blame instead of inwards and saying, okay, emotionally, what's really going on here?
Right.
And those two working together have created so much chaos in my life. And now that I understand it and can take that moment to pause and reflect and contemplate, it shifts the energy in the situation. It dissipates it, and it's a global lesson that we all need to learn every day. When we see all the distress in the world, is just implementing those few steps can totally shift and change the landscape. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I had, until I just recently started doing the Art of Contemplation course, which I think online is like $30. I thought I knew what contemplation was. I didn't. Because there's 3 levels to contemplation. There's the intellectual, which is what I thought contemplation was. But there's also an emotional contemplation and a physical or soul contemplation, which is, first recognizing the thought, second recognizing what emotion is being triggered, and then third, in your body, what does that feel like? What is being triggered there? And dealing with the chronic pain that I do, it's huge to get out of my head and more into my body and realize what it is that's going on there, because I didn't want to be there. It hurts.
Right.
But when you start to integrate all 3 with pauses and not even trying to pivot, just pausing,
Mm-hmm.
just a few moments to pause, do a 1, 2, 3 check, mental, emotional, and physical. Sometimes pivoting will happen, oftentimes it won't. But when you do get the pivots, they're significant. So
Yeah,
if you feel drawn to it, I would recommend doing a course with genekeys.com.
definitely. I'll look into that.
Yeah, for $30, it is probably the best $30 you'll ever spend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently doing the guides program, which is why and by the way, can you see this?
Uh-huh. Is that my profile?
Yeah, see how I
Yeah.
just pulled the numbers?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And there was, with regard to the 14, I had an epiphany. There's something on YouTube called Being Human, or Human the movie, or Humanity the movie. And about a third of the way in, there's no speaking in it. All it is you're like looking directly into the eyes of people. And there's different music from different places in the world and different cultures. And they show this one vision of like probably 200 people all leaning in over each other. And there's one person guiding people to stack up and build this tower. And then of those hundreds of people leaning in, supporting it, there are thousands of people all around the edges being affected by this. But it's one person who is guiding the building of this tower in the center. And then they all let it go and all connect and relax. But it's like a visual punch in the gut of what the 14 is. The guidance of a small group of, and powerfully impacting the world. So if I find the clip of it, I'll send it to you. I think I got it on my phone.
That wouldn't happen to be the one that was with Greg Braden. I had just gotten something in my email box about something human.
I don't think so, but I don't know I just came across it and had a couple of epiphanies in watching it. It was really,
Yeah.
with no words or not using the intellect at all. It just through visualization and sound.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, let me stop the recording here. I love you and thank you so much for doing this with me.
Well, thank you. So many things resonated. Number one, I'd been putting this pressure on myself to be doing things, to create a business, like I'm supposed to be doing something, and I'm stepping back from that. I'm just going to do a website. And you mentioned ease, and the name that kept coming up for me was effortless human design, because since I
Perfect.
surrendered and just let my life be and step into what I call the crone phase. For me, the sixth line is very much being available in the crone archetype.
Totally.
My life has been just so easy.
Mhm.
And I can impart that. Just before our call, my son called um, on the verge of a panic attack. He writes grants for a rural county in Northern California, and he had questioned the money value of a particular grant because it seemed so out of line when he got it in January. It was like $670,000 for a very small community, and way more than everybody else was getting. And he questioned it, and they said, no, that's right. That's okay. That's what they're getting. And so he wrote a budget on that and let the city know. And he learned today that, oh, you're right, it is an error. And it was slashed. And he has to go to that community and tell them, and he has to rewrite the budget. The old Caroline would have tried to fix it. And now I was just there being a space for him and gently reflecting back to him, that he will move through this with grace, and that he will learn from it. And not to react, not to get angry. I understand he's frustrated, but it's a far different role than I would have played a couple of years ago. Far different role. So
Well, that is a perfect note to end on.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for this, Tom. I'm just thrilled that, like, I know you've been jockeying and looking for that niche, and I feel like you've found it and you've really settled into it. And the pieces of your life are just starting to fall into place with such a grace, so congratulations to you for that.
All right, I'm gonna